This video is going to be going over how to create a zombie wave survival minigame, I guess you could say. It's an idea I made like 3 or 4 years ago, along with my friends, which is what you're seeing right now. We turned that idea into pretty much a full map with like a shop system, more in-depth wave system, bosses, unique enemies, whatnot. And what I'm going to be going over today is how to create that base wave system. So, how to spawn the zombies, how to detect when they're killed, how to start the next wave. And I'm going to try and go as in-depth as I can into explaining like how all of the commands work, how they interact with each other. I'm going to try and explain it as best as I can so that hopefully by the end of this, you can fully understand it yourself and expand upon it, whether that's adding more waves, whether that's adding custom enemies, maybe adding a shop system in between, whatever else you want to do. I'm going to try to explain it so that you can modify it as much as you would like. So I'd say that this system can most easily be split up into three different categories. That being the pre-wave, which would be spawning the zombies, giving players effects, items, setting up the midwave or initializing the midwave. And the midwave would be checking for all the entities you have. So if you have zombies, checking to see if there's any zombies left alive, checking to see if there's skeletons left alive, whatever other entities you have alive. And the midwave would initialize the postwave, which would be resetting your current wave and starting up the next wave. I'd say that's the easiest way to break all of this down. But to start this out, I'm just going to build a little arena and set up some wool just to make it a little more comprehensible and hopefully make it easier to read. So I'm going to go do that real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so all I've done is I created a 10 by 10 area that is going to act as my arena. And I just created a little pillar right here because this is where I want to start the wave. By the way, none of this is necessary. This is just what I did to try and make it easier to look at and easier to explain. Obviously, you do not need any of these blocks here. The only important parts will be the redstone and the command blocks. But anyways, just a 10 by 10 arena. And what I have here is going to be the pre-wave, which is, I believe, a 7 by 9 block of blue wool. And here's going to be the midwave, which is a 3 by 7 block of orange wool. And here is the postwave, which is a 5 by 6 block of red wool. So this is just how I split it up. You don't have to do it this exact way. Again, this is just how I did it to try and make it easier to understand. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a button and run a redstone line past this pillar. So if I just grab a button, redstone dust, I'm also going to grab a repeater and a block of redstone just because I'm going to use those later. I'm going to use other things as well, but I just want to grab these since I'm already here. So I'm going to place the button down here, and then on the back of the pillar, actually, let me change that out just so it's easier to see. Oops. On the back of this pillar, I'm going to add some redstone dust, just leading down, and I'm just going to lead it off to the side because I want a countdown. And I would add this countdown over onto the pre-wave section because technically that's where it should go. But I forgot to do that when I was calculating how big these blocks should be, and I'm too lazy to change it. So this is just how it's going to be. So now I'm going to type the / button on my keyboard and type give @s, meaning yourself, command block. And if you press tab, you can quick switch between all of the listed commands. I'm not sure what version this works up to. I know older versions of Minecraft, you can't do this, but I'm also pretty sure this wouldn't work in older versions of Minecraft. So just might as well put it out there. So I'm going to give myself a command block, and I'm going to start the countdown. Okay, I'm going to place a command block at the end of this redstone, and inside of it, I'm not going to change anything, or any of the settings rather, but I am going to type title @A, meaning all players, title, which is just, indicating which title you're using, whether you're using a normal title, a subtitle, etc. And then in curly braces and within quotations, I'm going to type text. Then after the quotations, I'm going to type a colon, and then I'm going to do another set of quotations, and this is what I want my title to say. So I'm just going to say wave 1 starting in And after that last set of quotations, I'm going to type a comma, and this is where we can add different attributes. So if I want this to be bold, or if I want this to be a specific color, I can type again in quotations, color, for example, then after quotations, colon, quotations, red. And if I want this to be bold as well, I'll type comma, quotations, bold, colon, quotations, true. So if you want an underscore, if you want your text to be bold, if you want anything like that, where it's pretty much either on or off, you would type your attribute in the first set of quotations, and then whether it's true or false, whether it's on or off, respectively, in the second set of quotations. If you want a specific color, you would type color in the first set of quotations, and then what color you want it to be in the second set of quotations. This is how the title command works. You can make it much more simple than this, but if you want customization over how it looks, this is in general how you would do it. It's just formatted by what you're changing and then what you're changing it to. I am changing the text to wave 1 starting in. I'm changing color to red. I'm changing bold to true. And real quick, I'm going to add a colon right here. But anyways, so I'll press done on that. And if I press the button, wave 1 starting in, and that's where you would finish our other commands or add our other commands. So now that that's done, what I'm actually going to do is replace this redstone with a repeater, just because I want to power another command block through this. If you don't know how this works, if you power any block using a repeater, that block practically becomes a redstone block for as long as the repeater has power. So if I just do 2 different examples, if I power this block using a repeater, you can see the redstone on the other side gets powered. If I power it with just redstone, however, the redstone on the other side does not get powered. So as long as this block is being powered with a repeater, it acts as a redstone block for any other redstone components around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 3 repeaters after it. And the reason is because I want this to wait a full second so I can have like a 3-second countdown before the wave starts. And in Minecraft, 3 seconds is 10 redstone ticks. So I'm going to put this repeater to max, this repeater to max, and click this repeater once. So 4 plus 4 plus 2 equals 10. So, that's 10 redstone ticks, meaning 1 second. So I'm going to add a command block to the end of this, and this is going to be my 3-second countdown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into it and type practically the same thing. That being title, at a, title, and then in curly braces, quotations, text, colon, quotations, 3, and then I'm gonna make these blue, for example. So I'm going to type comma quotations, color, colon, quotations. I know this is very tedious, but it's worth it in the end. Blue, and I'm not gonna keep this bold, actually. I'm just gonna keep it like this. So that's all I want. Let me just test it to make sure it works. Yep. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to copy this command block. And the way to do this is if you press Control and middle click, or whatever your block pick button is, you can, in creative mode at least, copy all of the data in any block, whether it's a dispenser full of TNT, whether it's a command block full of data, whether it's a sign full of text. You can copy that block directly so that whenever you place it down, it is exactly the same. So I just copied that block, and I'm going to start this again. I'm just going to keep this going this way. So 4 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 ticks. Place down that original command, or place down that new command block, rather. And in this, I'm just going to change this to 2. 4 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 ticks. And for this one, I'm going to change this color to, let's say, red. And let's also make this one bold. So bold, colon, true. So now, by the end of this, when I press this button, it should go through all of these commands. Yep. So also another tip is if you don't want all of this text showing up on the side whenever command block activates, if you type slash game rule, command block output false, now your command blocks will not output all of that like extra text into your chat box. Okay, so now comes the part where we actually begin the wave. So this right here, actually, I'm going to place it right here. This is going to be my point of reference. This is where I want my pre-wave to begin, and that will make sense in just a minute. So I'm going to grab the coordinates of this, and if you press F3 and look at your top right here, you can see what block, or the coordinates of what block you're targeting. So that's negative 174, 4, 194. So I'm probably going to forget that. So I'm probably going to cut the video because I did. So this is our last title command. And I'm actually going to wait another second before I actually start the wave. So that should be 1 second. And I can get rid of this command block now. So I'm going to place a new command block. And this is going to be setting that block to redstone. So that block I need to check again. 174, 4, 194. So I'm going to go into this command block, type set block, and then your coordinates, which mine were 174, 4, 194. And you're going to set that to a redstone block. And again, you don't need to change any extra settings. So if I activate this, you can see that block gets replaced with redstone. And now what you're going to do is you are going to place a command block here on the back side of that redstone. It really doesn't matter where, just make sure it's touching the redstone. And this is just going to be immediately deleting that block. So set block, the same coordinates, and you're going to set it to air. This is just replacing the block with nothing, practically. Yeah, that. And now what I'm going to do is, actually, I'm going to set the time to day. Time set day. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a command block right, or to the right of that redstone block. And this is just going to give every player a sword, just because this is the first wave. This is how I want it set up. So I'm going to type give at A, meaning all players. If I typed at S, it would be yourself, but because this is running through a command block, it would technically be targeting the command block. It's kind of confusing, but just for this, type at A, all players, and I'm just going to give them a wooden sword. So that is done. And now what you want to do is I'm going to create a branch of redstone dust for spawning the zombies. So the redstone block normally spawns here. So I'm going to branch out redstone like this, kind of like in a T, and then just do it again. So now I have 4 different connection points, which are going to be where the summon zombie command blocks are going to be. But first, I want to get the coordinates of where I want to summon the zombies. So I'm just going to go into not the center of my arena, because there isn't one. I'm just going to choose here. And the coordinates of that are negative 160, 4, 199. So I'm going to create a command block and type summon zombie at negative 160, 4, 199. So this is just as simple as it sounds. This is summoning a zombie at these coordinates. And these commands can get more complicated, but I might go into that a different video. There's websites to generate custom entities and whatnot, but this is all we're going to do for now. So let me just double check that that works. Yep, we have it. No, that's kind of an issue, but it's fine. He'll die. So that summoned the zombie where I wanted it to summon. And now I'm going to control middle click to copy this command block and paste it on these other branches of redstone. So what we have so far is when we press the button, these are all title commands. So wave 1 starting in 3, 2, 1, and this command block creates a block of redstone right here. This command block deletes that block of redstone, and this command block gives all players a wooden sword. But while that redstone is still here, it has enough time to power, or while that redstone block is still here rather, it has enough time to power all of these command blocks, which actually summon the zombie. So the last thing I'm going to do, which again will make sense in a second, is I'm going to add another command block to the to the left of the redstone block and grab this coordinate. So this block is negative 184 for 194. Whoops. So I'm going to place a command block and type set block negative 184 for 194 redstone block. And again, this will make sense in just a minute once we actually start the midwave. But this is going to initialize the midwave once this redstone block gets placed down. So let me just make sure it's in the right position. Yeah, in the future, there's going to be a command block right next to this, but there isn't for now. I just wanted to finish this pre-wave first and make sure that it all works. So if I get into the arena and press the button, starting in 3, 2, 1, I get a sword, and there's 4 zombies. So I'm just going to kill these real quick, and then we can start on the midwave. Okay, so now beginning with the midwave, we're going to place a command block directly in front of the redstone block, and we're going to type execute if entity. And what this is doing, this is just the type of execute command, and the if type of execute command is checking if something is there. Whether, like if I typed instead if block, I could input coordinates and a type of block. So the command block would return true if the block at the coordinates I provided is, let's say, a diamond block. But what we want to check for is entities. We want to check to see if there's still zombies in the game. So if entity, and then what type of entity, and we want to target all entities, meaning at E, but we don't actually want to target every single entity. We just want to check for zombies. So we're going to type execute if entity at E, and then in square brackets, we're going to type type equals zombie. And what this does is when this command block is activated, it will check if there are any zombies in the world. If there are, I'm going to grab a comparator, and you should as well. I'm going to place this just at the end of it. If there are zombies in the world, then the comparator will return true. If there are not zombies in the world, then it will return false. And one last thing we need to do to this command block is change this to repeat. So now this is activating every single frame, every single tick rather. So you can see there is no redstone output, but if I summon a zombie, now there is. These lights meaning that the comparator is returning true, or the command block is returning true. So once the zombie dies, you can see that the comparator should turn off and there should be no redstone output, whenever that is. Yep, so it turned off, and that is exactly what we want. However, we want to reverse the signal, because the whole point of the midwave is to activate the postwave. We want to activate the postwave whenever all zombies are dead. And what this is doing right now is this is outputting a positive signal when they're alive. So we want to create a NOT gate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this repeater with, or replace that redstone with a repeater. And I'm going to place a block here and put a redstone torch on top of that. So what this does is this repeater powers this block, which unpowers this redstone torch. I'm going to place one more block, place one piece of redstone dust, and I'm going to skip a block and then place another piece of redstone dust. I'm going to have to jump back to the pre-wave to make sure that this works. Actually, I'm going to place this redstone back down just to make it easier to see right now. So if I, right now this command block is not going to work because it needs redstone. This will not check at all unless it is being powered by redstone. So if there is a zombie and I power this command block and I destroy the redstone before the zombie dies, this will always return true. It will never update until it is being powered by redstone. So I'm going to turn this on. You can see that there are no zombies, so this is returning true. And if I spawn a zombie, now it's returning false. But the issue with that is this will always return true when there's no zombies, and that includes the pre-wave before the zombies even spawn. So what we want is a short delay before we activate the post-wave. And real quick, I'm just going to add redstone right here, just so you can see kind of where this is going to connect up. So I'm going to destroy this redstone block and destroy this piece of redstone. What we want to do is we want to spawn these in order. We want to always keep this redstone deleted except for when the zombies are already spawned in. So remember, this command block right here spawns in this redstone block. Now we want to wait a short delay before we spawn in this redstone dust. So I'm going to grab the coordinates of this being -190 for 194. And I'm going to go to the end of our Prewave, add a repeater with max delay. It could probably be 1 tick of delay. I just like to be safe. And place down a command block and type set block -190 for, I think it was 194, and set that to redstone dust. Redstone wire, rather. Okay, that should be our midwave completely done, as well as our prewave completely done. So I'm going to just destroy this redstone dust, and just so we can test to see if this is working, or if this is working, sorry, I'm going to add a command block to the end of this redstone wire and type title at a title. And if you don't want any of the fancy effects, if you just want text, you can just type quotations. I'm just going to type zombies are dead. So now that should only activate once we kill all of the zombies, or rather once all the zombies are dead, no matter how they die. So if I go back to the beginning, if I press the button, wave 1 starting in 3, 2, 1, you can see it placed the redstone block for a quick second, placed the other redstone block, and placed the redstone wire. So now it is checking to see if zombies are alive, and once they die, you should see that the signal reverses and activates that last command block. And there goes the last one. Zombies are dead. So that is the pre-wave and mid-wave completely done. Now all we need to do is reset the mid-wave, because we don't want this constantly checking if we have, many waves. That could get very laggy. So we don't want this constantly checking, so we will be resetting it and then starting our next wave. So what I'm going to do is I am going to now delete these two blocks, this redstone dust and this redstone block. I'm just going to free up some space in my inventory, and I'm just going to copy the commands from before so that I won't have to retype them and figure out the coordinates. So this is the command block that spawns the redstone wire, so I'm going to control middle click, and this is the command block that spawns the redstone block, so I'm going to control middle click that as well. And we're just going to set both of those to air. So I'm going to remove this command block, put a repeater down, and place this block down, which is setting the redstone wire, but instead I want it to set to air. And then again, because this is being powered by a repeater, this acts as a redstone block. So I'm going to place the other command block right next to it that sets the redstone block to air. So here, let me power this really quickly. You can see that once that was powered, this redstone wire is deleted and that redstone block is deleted. And now, just to keep up with my, record of not putting in the countdown in the pre-wave, I'm going to put the countdown for wave 2 in wave 1's post-wave, because that definitely makes sense. So again, this is basically a redstone block while it's being powered, so I'm going to draw repeaters from it and just have that same countdown that we had originally. So 4 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 ticks, and I'm just going to get rid of those. I'm going to control click this command block and control click this command block. This one just being, wave 1 starting in, this one being the actual number. It just makes it easier. So I'm going to place a command block right here, and I'm going to change this to wave 2 starting in, and I'm going to place redstone dust right next to it, which will be powered by that command block. And then 4 ticks, 4 ticks. Actually, that will not work. I'm going to place 2 pieces of redstone dust. 4 ticks, 4 ticks, whoops, 2 ticks, and then 3, just the title command saying 3. Redstone dust, 4 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 ticks. Again, I'm starting to realize that this area was a little too small, but it's fine. And this is going to be 2, And 4 ticks, 4 ticks, 2 ticks. This is going to be 1. And now you can just repeat this the exact same way. And just as an example to show you that this does still work, I am going to grab this command block, which starts wave 1, and place it at the end of the post wave. So it should say wave 2 starting in 3, 2, 1, and then instantly start wave 1 again. Again, if you want to have a different wave, you would change the location of the redstone block. So instead of, spawning redstone block here, I would have a different wave over here, and I would spawn the redstone block here with the commands being around it like that. But with what I've gone over in this video, you should be able to know enough to just create that yourself. If not, you can always just ask for extra help in the comments, and I'll be happy to try and help. I can't confirm if I'll actually be able to. I'm definitely a little rusty at this. But I'll be happy to attempt to help with whatever issue you're having. So just to double check that this is all working, I'm also just going to grab a netherite sword because I don't want to wait for the zombies to burn. I'm going to start this. Wave 1 starting in 3, 2, 1. Gives me a wooden sword and spawns all 4 zombies. I'm just gonna, kill them quickly. And once I kill this last one, wave 2 starting in 3, 2, 1. And just to double check that this still does work and this fully reset, I'm gonna try it one last time. Wave 2 starting in 3, 2, 1. And you can see kind of how that's functioning behind the scenes once the zombies spawn. But yeah, that's about it. I'm going to just delete this redstone wire because I don't want this infinitely repeating. But if you want to, or if you want some ideas on how you can expand this yourself, you can do what I did in the past, which is create a shop system. And what I did for that was I just created a custom villager with custom trading commands, or with custom trades rather. And I just traded rotten flesh for better items. So, for example, 20 rotten flesh for a stone sword. I think it was like 30, 35 rotten flesh for an iron sword, and so on and so forth. I had villagers for armor, I had villagers for better weapons. You could even get more complicated and do a point system like I did in my previous video. So you set up your own like custom shop instead of using villagers. So you can, give players points based off of how many zombie kills they have. You could give players points based off of how much rotten flesh drops, however you want to set that up. But yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, ideas, feedback, anything relating to this or even not relating to this, feel free to let me know in the comments. I respond to every single one of them, so, don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I hope this was helpful, and I hope you learned a little bit from this, and happy building.